MLS is back, and this year we have 30 teams, with San Diego joining in the league's 30th season as well. Now, this weekend we'll have 13 games kicking off on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday, and 1 on Sunday night as well for the Sunday night edition of MLS. Now, but this is the first week, and there's lots of moving pieces here, like there is in any league in the first week, but especially in MLS, there's tons of new players all across the league, tons of new coaches and systems. So let's keep it simple here as we start to watch some of these teams each week and see what we can bet on from a week-to-week basis. For this weekend, we'll create 2 relatively simple 2-game parlays, so 4 different games for the MLS predictions for this weekend. And if you like this video and want more MLS picks all season long, be sure to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. You can become a member as well for picks in other leagues too. Let's kick it off with one of the bigger games here at Inter Miami, New York City FC. Both meetings last year ended in 1-1 draws. And in 2023, it was 1-1 again, and also 1-0 for New York. Now, this has been a bit of a bogey team for Miami, who haven't beaten New York in the past 5 meetings. Miami actually only has 1 win in the last 9 head-to-heads. Now, Miami rarely lost at home last season in MLS, where they were 11-2-4, with only the Galaxy posting a better home record. New York City weren't terrible, though, when they were away from home. They were mediocre, 4-8-5. Now, Miami and Messi are already off to a good start. They went away to the very cold, probably the coldest game in MLS ever in KC, and they won 1-0 in the Champions Cup, with Messi getting the 1 goal on Miami's 1 shot on target. But that game was Wednesday, and now they'll play again against SKC on Tuesday, so we could possibly see some rotation here in this game, but it is also the Miami home opener. Their preseason has been much better than in years past. They went 4-1-0, scored multiple goals in 4 of those 5 games. Only the 2 playoff losses to Atlanta in the playoffs stand as their only 2 losses across their last 18 in any match going back into last season. Now, New York City has been solid in the preseason as well, 3-1-1. They've scored in 5 of 6. They have some holes to fill, though, with James Sands loaned out and then injured, and then top scorer Santi Rodriguez being sold to Botafogo in Brazil this past week. They also have some injuries. Diego Martins, Tavon Gray, and historically have been slow starters, as they've lost their last 5 straight season openers. Both teams have new coaches, with Pascal Janssen in for New York and Javier Mascherano joining for the Herons. I'm going to side with Mascherano and Messi kicking off the season at home with a home win. Let's go Miami to win. Leg 1, that's about -130 to -140, depending on the sports book you're looking at. So let's throw in 1 team just to get a goal, and we'll go to Sunday. It's Portland in Vancouver. These teams met 4 times last season. Vancouver won 3-2 at home. Portland won 3-2 and 2-0 at home. They drew 1-1 in Vancouver. Vancouver won 5-0 at home. Now, both teams have lost a star. Vancouver sold Stuart Armstrong to Sheffield Wednesday. Portland sold Evander to Cincinnati for $12 million. They'll hope David DaCosta from France's Lens can fill the hole there. The Timbers ended last season winless in 6, and their preseason has been hit or miss at 3-1-2. With 65 goals scored last season, only 3 teams overall scored more, but the defense was a mess all year long. They were always a great both teams to score team. They gave up 56, the 3rd most of all playoff teams. The Whitecaps have a new head coach. Ownership wants to sell the team, and the lease at BC Place is coming up, so there's plenty of uncertainty around Vancouver right now. Their preseason has seen them go 2-1-1, and they've scored, though, in all 4 games. Even without Evander for Portland, the Timbers had multiple players scoring in double digits last season, including the likes of Jonathan Rodriguez. I could see him, or at least someone, getting on the score sheet at home here for Portland. We'll ask Portland just to score, so it's Portland over 0.5 goals, Miami to win, coming in at +102 in that 2-leg parlay in these MLS best bets for week 1. Moving on to parlay number 2, it's another team that has plenty of star power. They've added some new pieces this year, and they're playing at home. They're big favorites, and it's Atlanta United over playing CF Montreal. In 3 meetings last year, Montreal won 1-0 and 2-1 in the regular season, and they drew 2-2 in the playoffs, with Atlanta winning in PKs. Atlanta's home games last season were wild. In 18 home MLS games, there were 3 or more goals in 16. The both teams to score was 14-4, and the both teams to score in over 2.5 was 14-4 as well. Montreal were one of the worst road teams at 3-9-6. Only Chicago had fewer home wins in the East with 2, while the only other teams overall with 2 or 1 road wins were Dallas, St. Louis, SKC, and San Jose. During the preseason, Atlanta lost 2-1, then they won 2-0, 2-0, and drew 2-2, so scoring has not been a problem for this team. Montreal's season ended with a 2-2 draw and PK loss to Atlanta in the playoffs, so some revenge could be on their minds here. But their preseason has not been great. They've lost all 3 games. It's a rather shorter preseason compared to some teams. They had a 1-0, a 1-0, and 3-1 losses. They've not added many big names in the offseason, but they have added Giacomo Veroni, the ex-New England striker, to lead the line up top. The 5 Strikes, Atlanta, look to be one of the most exciting teams, though, entering this season. They have a new coach. They still have the likes of Saba Lobozhenze, Alexei Marinchuk as well. Now they brought in Matthias Klick from DC, and they still have DC paying his DP contract, taking that DP designation away from them. Miguel Almiron has returned from Newcastle, and they brought Emmanuel Latela, an Ivory Coast international, for an MLS record $22 million to be their new DP striker from Middlesbrough. He had 29 goals across 67 matches for them and will be expected to be their main scoring threat and possibly a Golden Boot contender. At home and with a ton of firepower, let's bet on Atlanta to at least score 2, probably get the win as well. I'm going to bet Atlanta to win for leg 1 of this parlay. And we'll do a similar approach to Parlay 1, where we ask a team to score. It's St. Louis and Colorado. The Rapids won both games last year, 3-0, 4-1. St. Louis scored at home in each of their final 7 games last season. This year, they lost their first preseason game 1-0, but since went 3-2-0 and scored in each of their past 5 preseason games. The Rapids tanked down the stretch, losing 6 straight, being outscored 19-4, but they too have been solid in the preseason and have yet to lose at 3-2-0. And they've outscored their opponents by a 9-4 margin. The Rapids usually score, and last year with 61 goals scored, that is evidence of the strong offense, but the 60 allowed were the second most of any playoff team in MLS last year, and also the 8th most overall goals allowed as well in the entire of the league. So let's just bet here on St. Louis to score at home, and that will be paired with the Atlanta to win, coming in at -136. Not going to pay out huge, but looks relatively safe. I want to just test the waters here as this season gets rolling. So those will be the 2 best bets for MLS Week 1. What do you like for MLS Week 1? Share your picks down there in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from, and let's all have a great MLS betting season.